I began investigating in January '87, starting off up in Cairns in far north Queensland and working my way down to Brisbane. Horrendous days, you know, getting up in the morning and finally getting back to your hotel room at 11 o'clock at night, and then getting a call from somebody out in the suburbs to say if I brought a carton of beer, he'd have something to tell me, you know, and having to get in a cab and drive out. That sort of stuff was happening all the time. And so January, February, March, April, I'm still working on it. They were becoming very impatient with me. I got hold of all those reports from institutions such as this and read them page by page. I remember my producer once saying, "Why are you doing that, Chris? Why are you doing that?" And I said, "I just need to understand the background." The people who had the intelligence and the information were people who were disrespected by the community and courts, you know, people who worked in the brothel industry or the drugs trade or the gambling industry. So they were our prime witnesses, and you knew full well that there was some likelihood that they weren't going to be believed anyway. That's what I think gave the crooked cops a lot of comfort. The crooked ones obviously gave me curry. The white knights were valuable to a degree, but there were a lot of people in the middle who secretly helped me. I had made contact with a federal police officer called David Moore, who ended up becoming a lifelong friend. It's really not until the last 12 months or so that I learned that that this wasn't an accident, that David and I came into contact, that the federal police, I'm told, were worried about my welfare because, you know, they had a lot of intel holdings themselves that indicated that there was systemic corruption. I'll never forget being up in the room at the Tower Mill Hotel and talking to Dave and him going to the window and looking down and saying, "See that brown Holden down there, Chris? Yeah, that's the Queensland BCI, Bureau of Criminal Intelligence. That's an old rent-a-car that they've hired. We've traced the number, and they're watching you." He would say, "Be careful about using the phones. They're probably tapped." And so I would not use the phone in the hotel. I would go down to a public phone. This is sort of pre-mobile phones. Go down to a public phone, and whenever I'd go into the public phone booth, another man would move into the phone booth next to me. I'd be on the phone and I'd look down and I could see the sensible shoes of the big male in the next phone booth, with bigger ears than shoes probably. There was another occasion indeed where I was involved in a remarkable police chase where the feds picked me up. They were going to take me to meet somebody, and they thought we were being followed, so whoosh, I got involved in a real live police chase with one police force chasing the other. I think that when our cameras were sighted outside Jack Herbert's house, filming the house, that really rang a big alarm bell among the crooks because they could see that we'd made the connection. Jack Herbert was the conduit. He was the middleman. He was the person taking the bribe monies from the syndicates, criminal syndicates, and then funneling that back into senior police areas from the commissioner down. And when they saw the camera out there, that's when it hotted up. I got to know Herbert a bit afterwards. I mean, he took off, as you know, went off and hid out in the UK for a while. He told me that his problem is that he was always greedy. He admitted that. He would be going along to a police parade where people were being given awards, and as he'd walk along, he'd slip the guy his bribe, his sling, as they called it. They called it the joke, the joke, and that was a joke on the public. And Jack Herbert was the chief joker. I remember being shocked and again sort of shocked and angered by a lot of the women, you know, who were working in the the prostitution industry, but were being really cruelly treated by their bosses. And my thinking, you know, in Bjelke-Petersen, Queensland, the fact that this could be happening was really shocking, you know. And this was a system that was not just tolerated, but you know, assisted right to the top of the police and government.